Alright guys, this is Brad with Tactical Development. Just doing a quick video on how to install your Tactical Application Rails, or TAR, T-A-R rails. I'm going to be demoing it on the newly released Parker Mountain comp, the new rail that's coming out for that, but it'll be similar for the XL rail and for the standard rail. They all use the same hardware, the same tools, and the same method for installation. So we're just going to jump down here and get started. Alright, so like always, make sure your firearm is clear, no mag, no ammo, nothing in the chamber. If you have to triple check, do it. It's better safe than sorry. Now I do want to make one special note for the Parker Mountain rail. I do suggest 100% that the comp already be installed on your slide, because then you will be able to truly line up and make sure that that comp is timed correctly, because you won't want it to run into the rail and cause damage to the rail and possibly firearm and comp. So they'll come out of the package like this. Just the hardware will be loosely installed, and the first step you will do will be to take a 1.5 millimeter Allen. Take that and just back out those screws. So I'll try to get this on camera for you guys best that I can. Just back out those, not screws, sorry, it's a bolt, nut and bolt. Back those out, and most of the times, because the bolt hole is pretty tight, you need to back it out far enough that you can separate the two parts. And if you notice, I do this with the nut side up, because those nuts will fall out and you will lose them. They are incredibly tiny. So I've got the nut side up, and I'm just kind of backing those out. You can see here, just backing them out. And you only have to back them out as far as you need to be able to separate the part. You don't want to pull too hard. But see how that one, those are tight bolt holes. So I'm just going to keep backing it out until it freely separates easily. And there we go. So we've got the two halves here. I'm going to always keep the nuts facing up. I'm going to try not to use innuendo here, guys. I'm going to say nuts so many times, and bolts, and yeah. Anyway, those are the two halves. And so what I do, and I'm going to be doing it slightly different so that you can see, is I'll put the nut side on, still facing up, because I do not want those to drop out. And I am working over a flat surface, not over the carpet, where those will, if they do fall, they'll drop out. So one side lined up right onto it. I'm holding it facing you guys to make it a little easier, so it's a little different. And then the other side, the bolts shouldn't drop free. You might if they're a little bit loose, and if they are, that's okay. And if they are, you just hold it with your finger. But you get those lined up right there. And then you can, at that point, I can turn that on a slight angle. And of course, this is how I would do it. I'm pointing it away from my body. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten that, what I call the bottom bolt there. And it's gonna suck up that gap you see there. So I'm going to kind of try to do this without looking. I can see now that bolt has engaged that nut. That bolt has engaged. So I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to move to the front one. And I'm going to tighten that one down, and it's going to suck that gap up. But what I do is I watch to see, make sure that nut and bolt engage, so that it's engaged there. So now I'm okay to turn it over. Those are not going to fall free. But that one's, the gap has been sucked out of that. Go back to this bottom one, and I'm going to suck up the gap on that one too. And that is pretty, that is finger tight. I'm not trying to over torque it or anything. It's really just, I can probably put more pressure on that, but I'm not gonna. So get those just finger tight, really. That's all you need, and your rail is installed. And this is the new Parker Mountain Machine microcomp rail. Works the same for the standard rail. It's got the two bolts and nuts in there, same way. and for the XL rail has the same 2 screws facing the same direction, so it will work the same way. All right, guys, and that's the simple installation guide for installing the tactical application rail. Products will be linked in the description, and from there you'll be able to see what on our website we have a bunch of links to the lights and accessories that will fit on these rails, and holster companies that make holsters that support those lights with the rail. So most of those questions can be answered and found there, but if you have any other questions besides that, drop a comment, drop a like, and we'll get back to you. Question I get all the time is, will these rails work on the XL frame versus the standard frame? So I've made one for the standard frame and I've made one for the XL frame, but the front of these frames are the same, so you can put either on either frame. This one's specifically designed to match the XL slide, and this one is designed to match the standard slide and standard, I don't want to say frame, because the front of the frames are the same. Same with the Parker Mountain rail. Same frame, same front, so it'll work on any of them, but they will look goofy. There are pictures out there. If you've got the XL rail and you have a short standard slide, it's gonna stick out. It's gonna look goofy. It's gonna look funny. That's why I specifically made one for this. With the XL rail sticks out a little bit farther, and so they will work on any frame, but they're specifically designed to look and I guess function properly on the slide that they're designed for. But you can on the XL put any of these 3 and it'll fit. It'll function. They'll sit farther back, or there'll be a big hole where the dust cover is. This one specifically extends that to cover the dust cover. All right, guys. One note on the Parker Mountain Machine comp and our Parker Mountain Machine micro comp rail is that you install the comp first before installing the rail. This allows you to double check that the rail is lined up with the comp and that your comp is not going to be slightly off timed to where it will hit the rail. So you'll have it on there, then you'll install that, and if you notice an issue, if you notice it's rubbing a little too much on that comp, then go back to the Parker Mountain Machine video and watch his video and his instructions on timing your comp correctly. So that will save a lot of headaches, and it'll actually make the comp work correctly because it'll be timed correctly. So as you see here, so there's no behind the screen. I'm not pointing this at anybody. I'm pointing this at a camera only. It's not exactly centered, but it's pretty darn close, and then it does function. It does function without any catch, any engagement. I ran 8 mags through this today without any issues.